This is a brief video about cutting copper on our shear here. I have made a Sharpie mark. If you come and zoom in here, you can see that there was a ragged edge that somebody left in cutting copper. Don't do that. And so I've remarked to make sure it's a 90-degree angle with these two sides. So I've got a mark at each side. You want to definitely mark on each side. In this case, I've marked with a Sharpie. That works pretty well. You know, more often than not, I actually prefer to mark with a steel needle tool and to inscribe directly into the copper. The reason for doing that is because it's a very precise mark, ultimately a lot thinner than even the finest Sharpie. But also, what is essentially a dry point line into the copper, it raises burrs, which when I slide the copper underneath there, the burr will catch the light and it becomes a little bit easier to determine whether the shear is going to come down precisely on your mark if you've dry pointed marked that. Let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to grab a dry point needle. So just a steel scribe. And that'll make it a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to align myself that I make sure I don't screw up the mark. So I have a mark on either side. Now I need to lift this, slide it in there like that. Now the whole shear is on heavy-duty casters, so if and when you are cutting a really giant piece of copper, because we buy these in 3-foot by 8-foot sheets, right? This whole thing can be wheeled out, moved over so that the table can be used to hold the really giant sheet, and the shear can be right here. Now cutting like that cannot be done alone. I only like to cut like that when I have 3 people total, myself and 2 other people. So you got 1 person on either side of the big sheet and 1 person operating the foot pedal of this. I want a chair to step onto, but I do not want one of those chairs with casters because I don't want it spinning or sliding while I'm using it and standing on it. Now I'm going to have to stand on this foot pedal to operate the shear. So I need to place the chair such that it ain't going to be underneath the foot pedal as it comes down. So here should be good. Because I'm doing a manageable size, I can do this alone. Of course, cutting down small pieces, totally easy to do alone as well. This is essentially a giant pair of scissors. There's the bed right here, and one end of that bed underneath there is a blade attached to it. There is an equal blade attached to the top. This is the blade right here. The yellow thing is your guard that's going to keep you from cutting off your fingers. So you slide whatever you want to cut underneath there, and it starts to stick out the back. The top blade, so you might see it sticking out there now. The top blade is mounted onto this at an angle. So when I bring that foot pedal down, it's going to start cutting at this end and progress to that end. And that's fine. That's how it works. So it's not going to come straight down and cut the entire piece at once. That wouldn't work. It comes down at an angle, and that makes it a shear. Now, this thing, the yellow thing, protects my fingers, but it also makes it really hard to see where the 2 blades come together. So the only way I can see whether my cut is going to be accurate is to look down between these two, the green and the yellow. I have to look straight down in that space and see the edge of the blades and align my marks with those edges. That takes a little bit of practice. That's not something that we could probably even show you on the video, because pointing the camera back there is not really going to convey what you have to see. The first time you do this, you'll realize the benefit of doing a dry point mark, inscribing directly into the copper, because the light passing underneath here will catch on that burr, that scratch, and it'll make it easier to see. So what I have to do is I have to get up here. Now this is a pretty big piece of copper, which makes it a little bit difficult, but I have to align both sides. So I can align one side and then get the other. And because doing the second will kind of screw up the first, so I have to go back and recheck this. And as I look back there, I can see where the blade ends on the bed, and I can also see, I can look straight down the side of this blade. And I can see where the two blades are going to meet. And that's where I'm placing my mark. When I've got it all set, there's one last thing I want to do. I want to grab some mat board. This is perfect, okay? That yellow thing, besides protecting my fingers, it also comes down first with the foot pedal, and it's going to hold the copper sheet in place so that the shear won't migrate it as it's cutting. But these feet that come down and hold the copper can actually dent the copper, which could be a bit of a problem. So you can slide a mat board in there so that you're going to have mat board between the feet and the copper, but I'm not putting the mat board under the shear. So the mat board is inserting just inside of this, but not past the green. So I think I'll double check. Okay, that side still looks good. And that side still looks good. So now I'm ready to use the foot pedal. Even cutting a small piece, you're going to need your weight, your whole body weight, on the foot pedal. So if I just get up on that now, so the blade is now in contact with the copper way over here. Because the top blade is at an angle, it's not touching the copper yet over there. It's only touching on this side. But look at me, I'm standing on the foot pedal and nothing's happening. That's going to be true even for small plates. So here's what you do. Notice the way I'm stabilizing myself by holding on at the top. And I have to very slightly jump on the foot pedal, but I cannot jump so much that my feet leave the foot pedal. So watching my body weight and my feet. We just shaved off that edge. Now I can't just jump off the foot pedal. That would be really bad. I need to step off of it and let it slowly lift, like that. Do not just jump off of it. So now, what was a ragged edge is a nice straight edge at a true 90 degrees to these two sides. So that's how you cut copper.